I'm Cassandra Lynn, owner of Oakleaf Arrow Studios, and I have what I think is one of the coolest job titles ever. I am a fantasy cartographer. That means that I draw maps. Back in May, I tackled drawing one of my biggest maps ever, and that was Hiccup's map from How to Train Your Dragon. This map was unique in many ways. For one, it's a collage, meaning that I had to glue each individual piece together. Secondly, it is massive. And thirdly, there were so many dragons I had to draw on top of all the other like typical map stuff. It was supposed to be a map that I drew for fun, for myself. No pressure, no expectations, just a map that I could look at and be proud of, and maybe also show the characters when I visited Burke. What I didn't expect was for my video to pop off as much as it did. 1 million views on Instagram, nearly 500,000 views on TikTok. The official How to Train Your Dragon account commented twice, and I got thousands of requests to turn this into a print. I actually had this happen to me earlier in the year, not to this scale, but with my Avatar The Last Airbender map. But luck and timing just never seemed to be on my side because my videos only go viral before my products are available. Therefore, I really struggled to capitalize on any grace that the algorithm deigns to show me. But I was determined to at least try to keep people's attention for the lead up of the release of this map. The only problem was I had no idea when that would be. I had a laundry list of commissions still to get through. I was in the process of moving, and I happen to know how people's attention spans are. 5 months passed, and I still had no concrete answer to give. In that time, I moved and then moved again 2 months later. And it was during that second move, actually, that I decided that enough was enough and I was going to figure this map out. So that's exactly what I did. I reversed engineered it, figure out the most optimum way to fit it onto the paper and the best way to make it affordable for everyone, offer different tiers, made some graphics, sent out some emails, and then October 1st came. And as much as I would love to say that I caught my genuine reaction to the absolute insane drop, that was not the case. I was in the middle of moving. My laptop was hotspotted to my phone, balanced on a stack of boxes. My mom, who was over at the time helping me move, was like peering over my shoulder. I hit the publish button. And then for 5 minutes straight, this was just my reaction. In 20 minutes, I've made $5,000. In 2 minutes, I had made $2,000. In 20 minutes, I had made $5,000. Just so you understand my expectations for this launch, my goal was to make $1,500 in the entire month that I was running pre-orders. And my pipe dream that felt so unobtainable was five. And I made that in 20 minutes. In 1 week, I managed to gross 5 figures, which was insane, truly life-changing for me, especially since I had just moved. Now, this is gross. This is not net. I still have to, of course, deduct the amount of money I spent on paper, which was $5,000, the money I've yet to spend on shipping labels, as well as all the money I spent on the packaging supplies. And that brings us to today. I have nearly 200 orders to pack and so much prep to do. As weird as this is, I'm kind of glad that this sort of success didn't happen when I first started my business. I think it's only natural to want to go viral the second you start your business, to make a ton of money and see your business grow to sizes that seem unobtainable. But realistically, I would have not been ready for it. Trust me, you want to go through the awkward growing stages of running a business before you have millions of eyes on you. When I first started my business back in 2021, it was originally a sticker shop. Like most girls, I had a cricket and a dream, but soon thereafter I had a cricket and the strong urge to football punt it out of my window. At that point in my life, fantasy cartographer was not a word I would use to describe myself. I was a bullet journaler who was converting cover pages into art prints and making sticker sheets. I would have been so ill-prepared if I went viral when I first opened my business. I was addressing envelopes by hand, hated my cricket with every fiber of my being, and was spending more time troubleshooting it than I was actually drawing new stickers. Nowadays, my shop has its own room. Unfortunately, it is also the living room. Yes, my living room is in fact my office, but honestly, I'm just so grateful that I even have a separate space to run my business outside of my bedroom. But it wasn't always like this. Before I had shelves spread out across my entire living room, my business was run out of my bedroom, and most of my sticker stock was stored in a single binder. Nowadays, I have 3 shelves with various products from my How to Train Your Dragon map, taking up, of course, an entire shelf from art prints, matte prints, bookmarks, stickers, tote bags, and hopefully much more to come. Okay, it's a bunch of days later, and we are still ripping paper. This, though, is the last stack I have to do for pre-orders. I'm hoping to be able to finish up that stack today, but it's quite ambitious, and that would be the most I would ever have done in a day. So I'm not holding out too much hope, but a girl can dream. As for the situation laid out in front of me, these are all the map scrap, like pieces of the collage that are completely done because the edges are stained. And all of these, as well as every piece of paper that I rip, are maps that still need to be stained. So I still have a long way to go in this process. And unfortunately, things did kind of start off on the wrong foot in terms of how delayed my order was. So these got in about 2 weeks later than I thought that they would and hoped that they would. And then two, ripping and staining has taken me infinitely longer than I thought, even though I did calculate and time myself for how long each process would take. I didn't anticipate the fatigue in my wrist, so yes, I am wearing a wrist brace because the constant ripping motion is starting to get to me, unfortunately. Local artist discovers that she is not in fact a machine. But before I get back to inevitably ripping more paper, I did actually want to show you my thank you cards because they came in between the days that I had filmed. So here it is. I have a very specific thank you card for my How to Train Your Dragon maps because on the back, which I'll show you in a second, has information about where to find the tutorial video to put it together, which is necessary for this particular order and product. So I had to make special thank you cards, but I wasn't going to pass up the offer to do so anyways. On the front, we have This is Burke and Beyond, and I have a photo of Burke, which is my drawing, of course, as well as Toothless, and then a couple other various islands. And on the bottom, where this space is, it's actually going to be where I write each person's name who ordered the product. But because I'm extra, I'm going to write it in the Viking rune alphabet that How to Train Your Dragon actually uses. And I'm so excited for how it's going to look. I already did like a test sheet and it looks so good. And then on the back, we have Welcome to the World of Dragons and Adventures, the information about where to find everything. And then it says, Sincerely, your map maker, and I will sign my name at the bottom. That's me and my little Astrid cosplay, as well as my logo, and then all my like socials are on the bottom. I just think it's so cute and it turned out so well, and I'm so excited to include these in every single order because I feel like this can also work very nicely as like an extra little art print. I do believe that's enough procrastinating. I need to get back to ripping paper and hopefully finishing up this stack for my poor wrist can have a little bit of a break. So it's a bunch of days later. I did end up finishing ripping all the paper, but now I'm on to ripping all the edges. Basically, when you rip paper, obviously the paper's white, so the white will show through. But I've been using this Distress ink in the color Vintage Photo. Shout out to Wildcraft Maps over on TikTok and Instagram. She is the one who told me about this, and it's part of the reason this project even came to exist because I kept running into so many problems. And she was like, "Have you ever heard of this ink?" And I'm like, "No." And yeah, so I've been staining all the edges. This used to be my favorite part of the process because it was just so mindless. But now I'm just like losing my mind at this point. I'm not typically a big TV show watcher. Honestly, I watch a lot of YouTube, but since starting this project, it was more convenient just to stick on TV shows because I can let them run in the background and I don't have to choose new videos every single time the video ends. I watched all of the One Piece live action recently, and in case you're wondering, yes, it is my new hyperfixation. And yes, at some point I will be drawing the map from One Piece. I have got to make my girl Nami proud, and to no one's surprise, the map maker is my favorite character. Sanji is also my other favorite character from the live action. I am so excited for season 2, y'all. I was too intimidated to start the 1,000+ episode journey of watching the anime, but I knew I could commit to 8 episodes in a live action, which I was right about. But I also have started reading the manga, which, because I read so much, I find a lot easier to pick back up where I left off versus watching a very long anime. I feel like in my head, I have to binge the entire series and not like take any breaks and like watch something else. So I fear that One Piece may never happen. Another show that I watched recently that it's honestly criminal I waited this long to watch was Arcane. Hello, I know the entire internet and the entire world had already said how amazing and incredible Arcane was. It just took me a while to, get with the times, evidently. I was talking to my sister about it the other day, and she was asking me my favorite character, and I really couldn't pick one. I kind of like all of them.
And that is so cool because every single story arc that comes on the show, I'm just excited to, see where it goes. I did actually want to take a pause from staining because there's a couple of other like oddball tasks that I want to get done. One of which is signing my thank you cards, which I showed you earlier. It's just easier for me to sign my name all in one go. That way, when I'm packing orders, I don't have to flip the cards back and forth to write my name and then whoever ordered their name. So I'm going to go and do that, but I actually am going to do that in my other room just because I need a change of scenery because I've been here for like a week and a half straight just doing this. And I think switching up the scenery, even just for a little bit to sign the thank you cards, will be good for me. This entire process has been such a learning curve for me. And I hate to say that I did make mistakes during this launch. My biggest mistake was miscalculating the amount of time it would take me to prep all the map pieces. I had to delay the shipment of orders by 10 days. And even with spending quite literally every single day from sunrise to sunset on these maps, I am still cutting it quite close. And I did send out communications about the delay and received some lovely emails of people expressing their understanding, but I still felt like I was letting people down. I have this habit of assuming I can get everything done quicker than is feasible, and with this launch, it was detrimental. I've never had a shop update this large, and while I'm very proud of the fact that I am a one-woman show, I am in fact a one-woman show who has to do all the little tasks as well as all the big ones. I have been so incredibly stressed and overwhelmed every single day because making my set deadline literally felt impossible. I have been working until 3 and 4 in the morning, which isn't sustainable, but I am determined to get these out to everyone. But honestly, I heard a quote recently, and it's pressure is a privilege. And honestly, shout out to Robert Irwin for dropping some banger lines on Dancing with the Stars. But that really resonated with me. The fact that I am stressed and I care so much about this launch is a privilege. The fact I'm overwhelmed by the amount of orders is a privilege. I got the opportunity to be put in the situation where I can come out on the other end with my stress gone and having learned so much. I just have to push through. So rather than being stressed about my stress, I'm trying to embrace the fact that this was always my dream as a kid, and how lucky am I to get to share my passion for art with people all over the world. Another oddball task that needs to be done is I need to double check how I want to package the fully assembled order. I released a very, very limited quantity of these because one of these days I want to get back to drawing and I don't want to be assembling maps for the rest of my days. So I have a prototype. I think this is actually the very first prototype that I'm going to roll into the shipping tube, which is here. And then I have an idea of how I want everything to work, but I need to make sure it actually works. Actually, looking here, I think this is... Oh. These sleeves are way too tiny. Oh dear. I ordered these forever ago, and I didn't even think to check. Okay, another problem that needs to be solved. Working for yourself as a creative is simultaneously the best and worst thing ever. You get to make every decision, but you have to make every decision. You don't answer to a boss, but you do answer to your own actions. I've only been a full-time artist for a year, but the burnout is looming over the horizon. Hence why I was so excited about this shop launch being so successful. It was steps in the right direction. For the past year, I've been a commission-focused artist, meaning most of my income was coming from working with clients, mostly authors, on drawing maps for their books. It was amazing, and I'm so grateful to have worked with the people that I have. But when every single day you're drawing for someone else, it can be difficult and take some of the joy out of drawing. And I knew I wanted to pivot in my business, at least for a little bit, to recharge my creative sparks. The pivot I specifically wanted to make was focusing on adding new products to my shop and actually marketing them, a skill I seem to lack. Listen, I'm just tired by the time I get to the advertising step. I'm really hoping that the momentum from this launch propels me into next year with more vigor to create for myself. And once again, I cannot understate how grateful I am to have the opportunity to even get to do this as my job. I already have so many maps on the docket to get to: Lord of the Rings, Zelda, Pokemon, One Piece, just to name a few.
So if you're interested in any of those things, please feel free to join the email list to stay up to date or follow me on any of my socials. But in the meantime, it's time to get packing.